metres. That's just Mitch doing what he's done all year, really, innit? And to really get things going in Dr. Bob's pants, Carl Ablett, 44 tackles and 101 metres.
Nothing gets you going better than a Carl Ablett display in the stats roundup, who stood up for Huddersfield Giants and got counted.
Ryan Hinchcliffe, a try assist, 8 tackle busts, 135 metres and 3 clean breaks to round off a pretty solid season once he got moved out of any sort of hooking responsibilities. Donald McIntosh, 121 metres, Cruz Leeming, 10 marker tackles and 116 metres. Jordan Thompson, a try assist and 112 metres, and Jared Simpson sneaking in for his only appearance in Super League in the season, 113 metres.
There you go. Okay, so on to Saturday afternoon then down at Bellevue, and Wigan needed a 90-point margin of victory to get into 4th spot. It finished 32 points to 0 in favour of Wakefield Trinity in front of 5,165, refereed by Robert Hicks. You were there, Mark, so over to you, talk us through it.
Well, Cutthroat Jake.
Sorry, yes, of course.
Because it was on TV as well, don't forget. Wakey were excellent today and should dress as Spider-Man more often. They may have ended up 5th, but with the style they play with, they deserve to finish higher. As for Wigan, they were woeful. Since the cup final, they've been playing as if they had won the cup. There
you go. Roger the Cabin Boy said, "It was wonderful seeing the Golden Edge in action tonight. It's been phenomenal for the last few weeks, and it's a shame Wigan weren't able to compete against it." Bravo.
Tyler Casfan said, "If ever there was an example of a team playing with a smile on their face, that last 10 minutes and the Keegan Hurst try summed it up. They would have beaten any team on that performance, and Chris Chester is a serious contender for coach of the season. Nothing riding on this game, and Wigan looks like they didn't want to be there. A performance way below what's acceptable at a club of their stature."
There you go. Wakey White says, "What a great way to end what's been a fantastic season for Trinity by nulling Wigan at home again. And missing out on the top 4 by a Nats cocker." Very good. Thought it was quite intense considering there's a dead rubber, plus big games for Ashurst and Finn. Cannot wait for 2018.
Brian Davies said, "Bit of a sloppy start, but once Wakey held on to the ball, we saw some good flowing rugby from Trin. A really good way to finish the season and set us up for 2018. Been a great year for Trin. Bit of class and composure could have made it even better, but we've had about 5 years of steady, constant growth under Michael Carter. Many of the other smaller clubs in RL could learn from his approach to long-term growth."
There you go. Ryan Pinder simply says, "Looked as though Wigan weren't interested."
And Sarah McKenzie said, "Think someone forgot to tell Wigan it was them who needed to be doing the scoring. Wakey wanted it more, and some of the drives by Fafita were incredible. Looking forward to having Hadley back in black and white again."
There you go. So, you were there, Mark. What did you make of it?
Well, Wigan were shy, weren't they?
Pretty woeful.
And
do you think
Wakefield in the end were good. In the second half, Wakefield were very good. In the first half, whilst Jacob Miller looked like a constant threat, they didn't really have any control of the game, I felt, which led to them making a few errors in attacking positions. In the second half, I think Liam Flynn took over a bit more, and kind of that brought more players into the game, and the forwards were able to completely dominate. And that led to that late run of scoring in the last 15 or 20 minutes or so. That kind of padded the scoreline out to what it ended up being, because in truth, in the first half, there wasn't a great deal between the two sides other than that. Well, yeah, there was the sin bin in that helped create a bit of space for Wakey to score their points in the first half, but also just neither team really had it going right in the first half. Wigan then, whenever they did attack, pretty much were about half a beat off.
Right.
So passes were either a bit high out of dummy half, or a bit behind out of the halfback's hands, or just a split second late from centre or second rower to centre winger, and that, which resulted in Wakefield batting down about 6 or 7 Wigan opportunities for the last pass, sort of thing. But Wigan didn't learn or change up the strategy or whatever. I don't think they could have been asked. In the first half, we actually tried some different things. By different things, I mean George Williams occasionally stood to the right of Tommy Luluai rather than to the left of him, and it nearly resulted in a try. But I think particularly once we couldn't execute any of those plays in the opening period of the second half, we couldn't actually get over the line at all. I just think everyone was kind of fed up. I think for Wakefield, they had a little bit longer to come to terms with missing out on the top four.
Yeah.
They had an opportunity to finish above Wigan, which would be celebrated by them, given that Wigan are the reigning world champions. And they were at home, so they had a good opportunity to send off their home fans positively.
Yeah.
For Wigan, it maybe came as a bit more of a shell shock because it was only a few hours after they'd learnt their fate. They were probably all on the trip over, feeling like a bunch of knobheads for the way they played the week before. And it sort of felt like that. There wasn't much confidence flowing, was there?
No.
Whereas Wakefield grew in confidence through the game, thoroughly deserved the win, and every one of the players that have been picked out there was really strong. The Simbin end, I don't know because I'm not bothered watching the game back, so I've not seen it again.
Set the tone,
what it looked like, it looked like it was pulled up by the touch judge, and it was for a chicken wing style, was it? Joel Tompkins had kind of got on Fafita's arm, kind of out of its natural position, I guess.
Yeah.
Because at the time I didn't see much from where I was.
Well, the question I was going to ask is, do you think that the sin binning kind of allowed Wakefield that chance to get a foothold and...
No, I think Joel Tompkins' entire lack of any sort of fitness sets more of a tone than the sin binning. No, I don't believe that. I think it gave them the space to execute the plays with a little bit more safety in what they were doing, which meant they weren't having to push things as much to make the errors that they'd made before that. But I don't think it set any sort of tone. I think it was more the constant last pass, either going into touch or getting batted down, that built up through the last 10 minutes or so of the first half, and particularly into that first period of the second half, that really kind of just took any sort of enthusiasm out of Wigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So, what do the stats tell us then? Unsurprising stats, I suggest.
Well, yeah, some unsurprisingly big stat wins for Trinity. As Wigan went under 1,000 metres and made only one break. Wakey had over 1,250 metres and had 13 breaks. They also gave up 2 fewer penalties and had a 4.2% better team tackle success. On the negative on the stats sheet was the 21-15 error count against Wakefield, but many of those errors came as defensive interventions, stopping Wigan passes hitting their targets to maintain the 0 on the scoreboard.
There you go. Okay, individually, who stood out for us?
Ben Jones-Bishop, a try assist, 109 metres, 3 clean breaks. David, that was a nice play actually, wasn't it? I mean, the defence was a bit, other than Tompkins trying to get across everywhere and not quite making it, the interplay was really nice for the Scott Griggs try that Ben Jones-Bishop scored, even though the defence wasn't ideal. It wasn't as embarrassing as the Sam Williams try. Should have said that about that in the
film. That was, yeah.
Fucking joke.
That was pretty embarrassing.
David Fafita, 3 tackle busts, 176 metres. Sometimes he was just carrying the ball in one hand and carrying Wigan forwards in the other hand.
Yeah.
And it was remarkable on a few drives in that second half, like Sarah had pointed out.
David Fafita not in the dream team. Must have been close.
Well, he would be in that group that sits just behind Walmsley, who should have, if you could give it to 3 props, would have been in.
Yeah.
I think he sits in that next group with a lot of other players.
Yeah.
Matty Ashurst, 101 metres, so just squeaks into the review, into the stats roundup, and Mason Caton Brown, 106 metres. And for Wigan, the unlucky to not win any of the league-wide awards for Young Player of the Year, Tom Davies got 113 metres, which was way below his par, to be fair. So,
brought his average down, if anything else.
It did. It brought it down from 155 to 153.
There you go. Okay, so final standings then for the season.
Yeah, so the final standings have been sealed. Obviously, we know Cast still finished top with a 10-point margin over Leeds. They missed an opportunity to have a record. I think it would have been overtaking a Wigan record from, was it 2001 maybe?
Right.
Can't remember, of 51 points at the end of the season, but they didn't. Total, but still, 10-point margin over Leeds was very good. Hull ended up 3rd and Saints 4th. Wakefield ended up the Super 8 where they ended the regular season, which is 5th. Wigan finished 6th, Salford 7th, Huddersfield 8th. In terms of the Super 8s themselves, if that was a mini league, Leeds would have won that mini league. Both them and Cass won 5 from 7. So the best 2 in the regular season were also the best 2 results-wise, in this mini part of the season. But Leeds had a better points difference, quite a bit better actually. Saints would have been third with their significantly better points difference than Wigan in fourth and Hull in fifth. All of those sides won 4 out of 7. Wakefield would have been sixth with their 3 wins. Huddersfield would have had 2 wins and Salford 1 win, so they would have been 7th and 8th. And only the last 2 have negative points differences in the Super 8s, because Hull FC had a points difference, I think, of +1 from my calculations, Wigan +2.
So it's just and so.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, well, that's the Super 8s taken care of. Let's take a look now at round 7 of the qualifiers. Okay, Mark, final round of the qualifiers then. Leeds Centurions secured themselves a home tie in the £1 million game, thanks to an away 41 points to 4 victory over the London Broncos in front of 1,234.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Refereed by Chris Kendall. That's the Gloria Estefan attendance, that, isn't it?
Have we already had Gloria?
I think we've talked about Gloria Estefan at some of the... We talk about Gloria Estefan more than any other Rugby League podcast, I would go so far as. I would go as far as to suggest that we're your number 1 stop for Rugby League and Gloria Estefan. And the Miami Sound Machine. Let's not neglect them. Hard working set of lads.
We start the reviews with...
That's in my head now.
We start the reviews with Paul Campbell. I'm going to have to download Gloria Estefan tonight then, aren't I? Paul Campbell missed the game tonight, but I did not expect any other result. London were finished last week.
There you go. Neil McKeown says, what an amazing feeling. Last 10 minutes I was...
What are you on here? You're looking at the absolute wrong thing.
What page am I reading here? Yeah, you're right.
You're reading them.
That's thingy I should have turned over. There you go.
Yeah.
Paul Campbell goes on to say... That geezers, well, cool, blimey, strike like that was not the way we wanted to finish the season, and no mistake. Louis, I thought to myself, these Northern boys from Lee have come and done the right number on us. A good season went a bit limp at the end. Endo and the boys will be back now. I'm sure as my mum's old pies and mash will go with liquor. There you go.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised by the blowout nature of this. Obviously, London must have felt done.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Mark Ione making the side, and he's obviously been one of their best players this year. And for Lee, you know, this return back to the Reynolds and Drinkwater combo for the last few weeks has certainly worked out. So seeking out players from elsewhere, and you know, Hood and Palacio were probably the hooker combo when they had their best run as well in the Super League earlier in the middle of the season.
Yep.
You know, Crook's back in there. And a few things like that. You just think that
this bodes well. This bodes well for the £1 million game. This is the sort of result you want going into that, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah.
So there you go. Who stood out for us individually?
Josh Drinkwater, try 8 tackle boss, 132 metres, 3 clean breaks. Ryan Hampshire playing at fullback. He doesn't like it, but he plays better. 2 tries, 8 tackle boss, 164 metres, 3 clean breaks, and 4 successful offloads. I think this is his level against the weaker full-time teams at the moment. And Sam Hopkins, a try, 135 metres and 2 clean breaks.
Anyone for London?
Elliot Keir, vice-captain of Wales, 105 metres, and Michael Channing, 100 metres.
There you go. Okay, Warrington were 46 points to 24 winners over Hull KR in front of an impressive 10,466. These two were both, of course, already confirmed in Super League for next year. It was Tony Smith's final game as Warrington coach, and it was refereed by Gareth Hewer.
Yeah, and Wire Joe says, this game was our season perfectly summed up in one afternoon. Good enough when we could be arsed, but uninterested in defence and devoid of ideas and attack when we couldn't. Having said all that, now the season is over, we can draw a line under it and concentrate on thanking Tony Smith for the job he's done with us. He'll be remembered fondly at the club, and that's the sentiment we should finish the season with.
Lee Whitnell said we started poorly but kicked into gear after about 30 minutes when a triple interchange added some energy into our middle. In the second half, you could see the departing players digging into their energy reserves to make sure they went out on a high. There was a nice send-off for Tony Smith, Gids, Sims, etc. after the match. The end of an era. I wonder what next year will bring. Something tells me it's going to be our year.
Of course it is.
Ben Pomeroy scored 2 tries in this, and that is the only thing I've taken from this game.
Well, that and Peter Hicker again was pretty dominant. It must be like quite depressing the last few weeks.
Warrington fans seem to me to feel like the guys at the end of Bullseye that didn't win the speedboat.
Another thing to take